And today we have a very special one that's familiar to a lot of your kids. We have our very own staff member from Kids Ministry, Chloe Chedester. Can you help me give her a big round of applause as she makes her way up here and share her testimony with us?
Good morning, South Valley. So grateful to be up here to share my story. I hope that it encourages you in your walk with Jesus. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe, and this is my story of God's transforming work in my life. How he brought me from being a lukewarm believer into an intimate, life-changing relationship with Jesus Christ. I grew up in a Christian home. I'm the youngest of 6 kids, and I'm a triplet. It's always my fun fact. From the very beginning, Jesus was part of my life. I grew up hearing Bible stories, going to church every Sunday, and I was even baptized right here on November 20th, 2012. Looking back, I truly believe Jesus had my heart from a very young age. In high school, I led Jesus Club and Fellowship of Christian Athletes. People knew me as the good kid. And because of all those things, I assumed I had a strong relationship with Jesus. But I eventually realized I knew far more about Jesus than I actually knew him. Because following Jesus is personal. As I got older, I gained a passion for sports, and soon after, sports became my identity instead of Christ. My performance determined my worth, so if I played well, I felt valuable. If I failed, I questioned my worth. As sports became more competitive, church slowly became less of a priority. Tournaments replaced Sundays, practices replaced youth group, and before I knew it, I was drifting from my faith. In 2018, I graduated high school and I received a scholarship to play soccer at Fresno State University. Go Bulldogs! Around that same time, our church community went through a difficult season that deeply impacted many people, including me. God used that season to reveal that part of my faith was rooted in church culture, church leaders, and the people around me rather than Jesus Christ himself. He taught me that people can fail and churches can go through difficult seasons, but Jesus, he never changes. My faith had to become personal, and it had to be built on Christ alone. After my freshman year at Fresno State, I transferred to Biola University because I wanted a Christian education. There I studied communication, I minored in biblical studies, and continued playing college soccer. God grew my understanding of his word tremendously while at Biola, but knowledge isn't the same as surrender. Even while taking Bible classes, serving in church, and being surrounded by believers, I struggled with seeking people's approval more than God's. And because of that, I found myself living 2 different lives. One day I'd be studying scripture, and another day I'd be partying, making bad choices, and chasing acceptance from people who weren't leading me closer to Christ. After college, everything changed. I was living in Southern California with friends and working full-time when mold was discovered in our house. Almost overnight, I had to quit my job, leave the life I built, and move back home with my parents. At that time, it felt like everything was falling apart. But looking back, I see it as one of God's greatest acts of kindness to me. Because in those last moments before leaving home, I'd fallen back into the same pattern of chasing friendships that pulled me away from Jesus. God removed me from an environment that was drawing me away from him, and he brought me back to the place where I'd first learned about him, here. That season of isolation became one of the sweetest seasons of my life. I actually began sharing Jesus on TikTok live streams and on social media. I prayed with people, shared scripture, and had conversations about faith with complete strangers just about every day. For the first time, I wasn't just talking about Jesus, I was genuinely living for him. Sharing him with others became one of the greatest joys of my entire life, and for the first time, I actually felt like I was living out my calling. The more time I spent with Jesus, the more I shared him with others, the more my heart changed. And his desires became my desires, and the things that I once compromised and justified no longer brought me peace. They were no longer even appealing. I realized that sin isn't just about breaking rules, but it separates us from intimacy with God. And when you truly love Jesus, you don't want anything creating distance between you and him. So as I continued serving online, I constantly prayed, Lord, prune me, Lord, sanctify me, Lord, use me however you want. I was on fire for God and truly putting him first in everything that I had done. Over time, that ministry grew far beyond anything I expected, but somewhere along the way, what had begun as a sincere desire to glorify Jesus slowly became mixed with the pursuit of money and success. I built a life that depended on continuing down that path. Deep down, though, I knew God was asking me to surrender it. So I fasted, I prayed, I sought the Lord through the truth of his word, and he exposed the pride in my own heart. Philippians 2:3-4 is a passage of scripture that convicted me deeply. It says, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others as more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. And I realized how easy it is to justify our actions simply because other Christians are doing the same thing. It's too easy. But our standard isn't other Christians, it is Jesus Christ. So in his kindness, God asked me to lay everything down, to walk away from everything that I had built, to trust him completely. And that's what's brought me back here. 11 months ago, I moved from Florida back to my hometown again, back into my parents' home again at 26. But this time to serve the Lord by serving his church. From my story, you can see that a life following Jesus is not always linear. God has taught me that following Jesus is costly, that we are called to deny ourselves daily, to pick up our cross and to follow Jesus. It requires surrender. And I can tell you from my experience, it truly is worth everything. When I look back over my life, I don't see a God who is waiting for me to get my life together, but I see a Father who is patiently pursuing me through every season. So if there's one thing I hope that you take away from my story today, it's this. The one who gave you your life is worthy of your whole heart. So don't settle for anything less than a fully surrendered life built on Jesus Christ alone. Thank you.
Man, what a beautiful story. I'm just reminded every